Bellator 255 weigh-in recap, full card predictions, and the updated betting odds. Should be a fun card. We're going to quickly go through the undercard, and then we're going to work our way to the main card. Also have some images from the weigh-ins. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on those post notifications, and let's get into the first fight of the night. Jordan Newman versus Branco Busick. Should be a good matchup here. Both guys have been out for a while. Newman, a very good wrestler. Branco Busick, actually his pro debut was against Tyrell. Fortune went the distance with him, but has not fought since a no contest in 2018. Jordan Newman, I believe his last fight was in 2019. And one of the guys he's beaten has actually gone on to have a pretty good career and is 3-1. That is Joseph Holmes. He won that fight by unanimous decision. Quick TKO after that first round against Riley Miller. So he's been out of action for a while. Very good wrestler. He comes back, takes on, I would definitely say, a step up in competition in Branco Busick, a guy that can definitely fight, has a good amount of experience, has some power, some good range control, went the distance with Tyrell Fortune. I'll be honest, I think this fight probably does go the distance here. I think it's a good matchup. Both guys coming in on weight. I have Jordan Newman winning this fight by a decision over Branco Busick. The updated odds for this fight right now, depends where you go, but you're going to get around minus 335 favorite is Jordan Newman, and Branco Busick at the plus 255 dog. Depending on website, slightly will vary from there, but that's essentially what you're looking at. Both fighters making weight. Should be a good matchup. I'm taking Jordan Newman by a unanimous decision. Next fight of the night. Roman Faraldo, Jorge Masvidal protege, takes on Trevor Gouday, who's a 6'7" welterweight. This guy is a freak of freaks as far as height goes. If he had longer reach, he'd be even more of a problem. Doesn't have the longest reach. Does have a win over against Neiman Gracie in his last fight. Roman Faraldo, up-and-coming guy. As I mentioned, the Masvidal protege. Has a good amateur background. Faraldo everywhere should be dominant, but being 6'7", that 6-inch height advantage is definitely something to note. Will have a leg length advantage on the ground. Potentially could cause some problems in his guard. I think in the clinch, his leverage advantage will definitely be there. Faraldo, though, definitely the better of the two, but as far as height goes, it plays a factor. I think Faraldo should still get it done and get a stoppage in the second round, but if Trevor Gouday goes out there and wins this fight, I wouldn't be super shocked because he's such a freak. He's definitely a live dog. The updated betting odds for this fight right now, if we can find them here, plus 450 Gouday, Faraldo minus 675. Faraldo's a parlay piece if you want to add somebody. I wouldn't straight up bet on him. Trevor Gouday, he's a big underdog if you're feeling lucky, but odds are definitely against it, especially knowing Faraldo trains with some high-level fighters in Florida. I think that we see him getting the win, probably by a TKO in the second round. Next fight of the night was a late edition bout. Jose Augusto Azevedo. He's actually a protege of the Pitbull brothers. This guy's no joke. He's 6'3" as well. He's fighting against Jonathan Wilson, who actually has a UFC background, did lose some fights there, did go the distance with Oscar Piachota and Ian Cutelaba. Also has a win in the UFC as well. We'll quickly pull up his record, and is on a 2-fight win streak. His last fight was against Richardson Mariah, who was 8-4. That was in October. In the UFC, it was 2017, so he took some time off. He's definitely come back better. He has a quick TKO over Chris Dempsey in 2015. That was his UFC debut long ago. I like this fight. Jose Augusto Azevedo, I mean, he's going to have a lot of hype behind him. He's training with the Pitbull brothers. He's obviously going to be very skilled. Wasn't a ton of footage on him that I was able to find, to be honest, but I do know he has some good submissions. I looked into him. He's supposedly pretty well-rounded. It's hard to pick between these two here. I would say realistically, it could go either way. There's no odds being released for this fight either. Limited film study for Azevedo, especially in this short period of time. We'll see what he brings to the table, but as of right now, looking at the records, looking at some stats, I really have to ride with Jonathan Wilson because he has much higher level experience. But if Augusto wins this fight, I wouldn't be super shocked. He's training with elite level guys. I'm going to ride Johnny Bravo Wilson. I think he does get a win. I think he get a TKO. I think he could do it under 3. I think somewhere inside the distance TKO is where I'm going to ride with Jonathan Wilson. That's going to be my pick here. I don't think there's any odds right now being released for this fight. I don't see any by best fight odds. and they're the most reliable odds source, and they give you every site's odds. Unfortunately, no odds. If they do list some, I would definitely put them down below in the comments. Both fighters made weight as well. No issues there. Next fight of the night, Roger Huerta versus Chris Gonzalez. Chris Gonzalez is somebody to note, somebody to like. Very good wrestler. Both guys, 160 pounds for this catchweight fight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Roger Huerta has struggled with his grappling, got dominated in his last fight versus Sidney Outlaw. Chris Gonzalez is a beast on the ground, trains at Team Alpha Male. We're going to see Chris Gonzalez grind a decision win here. It just makes sense, and that's how it's going to go. Roger Huerta, I think he's 5-10 in his last 15. He's an older guy at 37. I'm riding Chris Gonzalez for the win. I have him dominating with his grappling. I think that's the big difference here. Odds right now, Huerta's a plus 210 dog, Gonzalez a minus 270 favorite. I think Gonzalez is a safe bet. I also think that he's definitely a good parlay piece if you guys are looking to play something like that. He also, height and reach advantage too, so on the feet it's going to be hard for Huerta to land. I think that Chris Gonzalez is pretty much a lock here. Next fight of the night on this undercard, Fabio Aguilar takes on Khalid Muratsayev. It's going to be a fun fight. I'm excited to see Khalid in action after, a UFC career. Fabio Aguilar, he misses weight at 187, so that's disappointing to see. I think Khalid's going to beat him up here and knock him out. He's got a great record at 17-1, but the level of competition compared to Khalid is definitely not there. It's not the same level as last fight. 4-1 fighter is not a bad record, but when you have 16 wins and 1 loss, not super experienced. Has a win over Marcio Alexandre, who was 14-3. That's a pretty good win. Prior to that, though, 7-11. Guys that don't even have records on here, 6-12, 15-10 is not bad. Not the most elite level. Did fight Bruno Silva, and he lost that fight. I think we see a TKO in the second round for Khalid here. I think that's a very realistic outcome, and that's the pick that I'm going to be riding with. As far as the odds for this fight, as of right now, minus 325 is Khalid. He's become widespread over Fabio at the plus 250. I like Khalid, but at this point, he's more of a parlay piece. He should be a lock, though. I like Khalid in this fight, and I think he gets it done. The next fight of the night, Mandel Nalo, Ricardo Sexas. I'm excited for this fight because Mandel Nalo is a guy with a ton of ability, man. He's a really hot prospect. He's 6 feet tall. That's a pretty good height for the lightweight division. 75-inch reach, 4 inches taller, 1.5 reach advantage. I think his striking is going to definitely make the difference here. I think he comes out on fire looking good, and I think he beats up Ricardo Sexas. He could win a decision, but I think a knockout is more likely. I think it could happen in the first round. He's definitely going to be coming to make a statement, bouncing back after a no contest and a disappointing first ever loss. I think this is going to be his showcase fight. Weighed in at 154.9 for both men on weight. What I like to see. Mandel Nalo, knockout victory. As of right now, Nalo obviously is going to be the favorite. Minus 280 to plus 220. Mandel Nalo, another guy that I think is a strong parlay piece. If you want to bet on him straight up, obviously you could. But at the minus 280 odds, not as appealing. Definitely a parlay guy. He gets it done. A lot of strong favorites on this card. And if you notice, there's a trend with Bellator undercards. It tends to be, you can tell there's one guy they're more so trying to push versus one guy who's more of an opponent, maybe more like boxing, but not necessarily like boxing that is a total whitewash fight. And it's definitely going to go the way of the favorite. It's definitely a toss-up, but more than likely we see Nalo win this fight. And I think he does it impressively. Somebody to keep an eye on. Magomedov beat Petr Yan, the only man to do so. Did lose the rematch, but that's still an excellent piece. Comes in 135 and then 134.4 for CJ Hamilton. I wouldn't say CJ Hamilton's really a live dog, but he's definitely a guy that can fight. He's got heart. He's a good striker. He's very athletic. Magomedov should definitely win everywhere here. And obviously, looking at the odds, if he were to lose, that would be a huge upset. Right now, he's a minus 1,610 favorite to the plus 900 dog. Magomedov is definitely a parlay piece, but he might not even be worth throwing on the parlay because if he were to lose, that would be devastating, and he's not going to bring you much gain at the minus 610. CJ Hamilton at the plus 900, maybe you want to put a little bit of money down and see, but unlikely that he's able to get a win over a guy like Magomedov who just, is just so much more well-rounded, has much higher level of experience. And I mean, beating Petr Yan once, even though he lost the rematch, is still a huge accolade. Petr Yan's an incredible fighter, and Magomedov is also an excellent fighter and somebody to keep an eye on at 135. I think he wins here, and he's going to be a staple in this Bellator bantamweight division. Somebody to watch for sure. All right, now we have arrived at the main card. Have some images from the weigh-ins that I will bring up as well. Kana Watanabe, Alejandra Lara. I like Lara, strong girl, but Watanabe does have some good grappling. Something to note, something to watch out for. You can see them here. Very similar as far as size goes. Minus 180 favorite is Lara. Watanabe the plus 155 dog. It's a toss-up fight, definitely. The odds are not super close, but definitely close. It's a pick'ems fight, I feel. But Lara should be able to overwhelm her and win. I think she is a bit better. And Watanabe is definitely hittable on the feet. I've seen some mistakes as far as her striking goes. Her chin gets lifted up high. On the ground, definitely is very good. On the feet, needs a bit of work, but is still obviously skilled. I am going to ride a win for Alejandra Lara. Most likely, we see this by a unanimous decision. I have Lara getting it done. I think it's a good fight, too. I really do. I think it will be a pretty entertaining women's flyweight bout because there's definitely high stakes here, and both girls do want it bad. The odds for that fight, I'll actually quickly bring up some other sites. I know they had them listed there, but I want to make sure they're the most accurate. Yeah, minus 185 to plus 160. So the odds vary slightly, but pretty much what Bellator had listed on Showtime. I would show you guys the weigh-in videos, but let's just say I've had some issues with Showtime copyright in the past. If you show too many clips from their weigh-ins, they'll actually try to demonetize your video. So I prefer not having that happen, not risking getting any copyright strikes. So today, do have some screenshots from the weigh-ins. Usman Nurmagomedov versus Mike Hamel. Usman Nurmagomedov is a good fighter. He's Khabib's cousin. He's the Nurmagomedov of Bellator now. Let's see if he lives up to the family name. I think he will. Mike Hamel is a dog and just had a split decision loss to Adam Borish, who's a top-rated fighter in Bellator. He's definitely live. And if Usman Nurmagomedov beats him up, it shows the level of him. If it's a close and competitive fight, it still means Usman's good because Mike Hamel is also very good. I do have an image from the weigh-ins here we will bring up. All right, let's get this thing shown. Here we go. Minus 800 favorite is Usman Nurmagomedov. Mike Hamel, the plus 550 underdog. Hugely widespread odds. I like to see Usman. I think he wins it dominantly. I think he gets a unanimous decision, though, because I think Mike Hamel is a game fighter. But if there were to be a guy that's a big underdog that could pull it off, it'd be Mike Hamel. Because he trains with very good guys. He trains at the MMA lab. He's a good fighter, but he is undersized here for this matchup. And I think Nurmagomedov's just better everywhere. But Mike Hamel is a dog. An absolute dog. And does have a good wrestling background as well. It's going to be competitive at moments. But I think Usman Nurmagomedov comes out here and makes a statement. Unanimous decision at the minus 800. Both guys at 155. Both guys in incredible shape. Definitely could be the fight of the night. This is going to be a scrap. I'm excited for this matchup. All right, the next fight of the night. Pretty much a feature fight here on the main card. Tyrell Fortune, Jack May. They were jawing at each other at the weigh-ins. They fought before. A low blow ended the fight. Jack May is huge at 6'8". As I bring up this image, you're going to see the size difference between these two. But we've seen the fight before. Go back and watch the first fight. We know which way this fight is going to go. I think it's a lock here. I'd be very surprised to see Tyrell Fortune not put Jack May on his back and beat him up. Tyrell Fortune's the number 6 heavyweight in Bellator. I think he's going to work Jack May here, and I think that he gets a TKO win, potentially in the first round, but maybe in the second. I do think he dominates Jack May throughout, and I don't think there's much May can do about it. He doesn't have the wrestling resistance. His takedown defense is not bad, but it's just not at the level of Tyrell Fortune's offensive wrestling. Fortune's going to beat him up in there. He's the minus 650 favorite. He's a great parlay piece, and he's an absolute lock, in my opinion. Probably one of the most confident guys on the night. He's going to get a dominant performance. I'm really excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a good one. I definitely do. And Tyrell Fortune at minus 650. He's got it. He's 250. Jack May's 264. I think Fortune's also the stronger guy, and his wrestling is going to showcase. TKO, round 1, I'm going to call. It's going to be dominant, and it should be a fun fight. I'm excited. The next fight of the night, Neiman Gracie, Jason Jackson. Gracie opened up as the favorite. He's actually the underdog now, which I do like to see because I had Neiman Gracie winning this fight from the start, and now seeing him as the underdog, it's a better time to bet on him. He's going to find a way with his submissions. Jason Jackson's an excellent fighter, awesome striker, very good range control, honestly pretty good takedown defense as well. But Neiman Gracie is a master of jiu-jitsu who's been training his jiu-jitsu specifically for MMA. He tapped out John Fitch in his last fight. You can't sleep on Neiman Gracie. Neiman Gracie goes out there, taps out Jason Jackson in the second round. I have him winning it. I think Jason Jackson's awesome. I'm actually a big fan of him, but I don't see him beating Neiman here. If he was able to do so, it's the biggest win of his career, but I just don't see it as likely. Quickly pull up an image from the weigh-ins here. Plus 100 dog, as I mentioned. Number 6 versus number 3. Jason Jackson looks in incredible shape, as does Neiman Gracie. Gracie gets it done. I really have him doing it. On the feet, though, he needs to respect Jason Jackson, but Jackson's not a big knockout artist. He's a volume puncher, and I think that really benefits Gracie. If Jason Jackson had the one-touch power, I'd say this is a very different fight, but I feel Jason Jackson needs a decision win or an accumulation of strikes that are really going to wear down Neiman Gracie over time. I don't see him doing that. I have Neiman Gracie winning this fight by submission, and I honestly cannot wait to see this matchup. It's going to be a good one, and I think it's the number 1 contender fight in the division, especially with a victory for Neiman Gracie, and I do think he is victorious, and I'd love to see the fight between him and Douglas Lima. That's an interesting matchup for sure. Patricio Pitbull, Emmanuel Sanchez, main event of the evening, the rematch. Their first fight was one of the best fights ever. Both guys coming in on weight, 144 for each of them. This is going to be a dogfight. 5'6", 5'9", reach advantage in favor of Emmanuel Sanchez. It definitely is going to make it more difficult for Pitbull because of such the reach advantage that we see for Sanchez and the height advantage. And if you look at the first fight, that was not an easy fight for Patricio Pitbull. That was a difficult contest. It shows the very skilled level that Patricio Pitbull is at, able to win that fight. Excellent striker, knockout power, mean straight down the line. I think he knocks out Emmanuel Sanchez here. I think he's gotten better. I think second or rather third round, potentially, could see it going the distance too, because Emmanuel Sanchez is a dog and he can definitely find a way. But my pick is going to be a Patricio Pitbull stoppage win inside of 2 rounds. And I do think Emmanuel Sanchez, though, will have good moments in the fight, but Patricio Pitbull will land with power, and his shots will mean a lot, and they will hurt Emmanuel Sanchez. Patricio Pitbull puts on a showcase here, getting himself into the finals of the tournament, defending his belt once again, further establishing himself as Bellator's greatest fighter ever. Really, it's up between like him and Michael Chandler, and he beat Michael Chandler. Now Chandler's fighting for the UFC belt. Patricio Pitbull beats Emmanuel Sanchez and AJ McKee. I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe trying his luck in the UFC. I would be curious to see the matchups at featherweight especially, but also even at 155, because I think he's definitely skilled there. We'll see what happens, though. I think Patricio gets it done. As far as how these two looked at weigh-ins, have an image here that I will bring up. Patricio Pitbull and Emmanuel Sanchez, minus 260 favorite is the champion. Sanchez, the number 2 guy in the world at the plus 210 dog. It's going to be an excellent fight. I like Pitbull at the minus 260. I do. I think he's going to go out there and look excellent. I would say you can bet on him straight up or a parlay piece. Wouldn't really advise a prop bet because Sanchez is a dog and has not been stopped. Even though I like the odds of Patricio stopping him, I don't think to play the risk. But I am going to ride Patricio Pitbull getting it done. Excellent card. This Bellator 255 event is going to be awesome. It's their Showtime debut, and they stacked it with some great talent. Unfortunately, we did lose a fight that was on the fight card that I was very excited for. Magomed versus Herman Tirado. Rachmanov misses weight, and that fight's off the card. Otherwise, though, we have a new fight now. Jose Augusto Avezedo versus Jonathan Wilson. Overall, I think we have a fun night. I'd probably tune into the prelims if you guys are a real fight fan. If you're hardcore and you want to see everything, I'd tune into the prelims too because they're going to be off the chain. The main card is good. If you're looking to play a parlay, I like Patricio Pitbull. I like Tyrell Fortune. I like Usman Nurmagomedov. I like Magomedov. And I also like Khalid a lot too. And Chris Gonzalez. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I would say are near locks. Jordan Newman could be, but you got to give Branco some respect. Roma Faraldo could be, but Trevor Gouday is 6'7". I wouldn't bet really on the Jonathan Wilson as Vacedo fight, even if odds do arise, just because there's too many question marks with the Pitbull brothers protege, Jose Augusto Vacedo. Roger Huerta, Chris Gonzalez. I think Gonzalez does get it done. Khalid, I think, gets it done over Fabio. Mendel Nalo should win, but you got to give some respect to Ricardo Saxas. He's going to be in this fight. He's game, and especially Nalo being a striker. I mean, anything could happen. And I do like Neiman Gracie. I think he's better off a straight-up pick rather than your parlay piece because it is going to be a little more risky because Jason Jackson is an absolute dog. But I do think Gracie finds a way to win by submission and is an absolute live underdog. This card is going to be so fun. Make sure you guys tune in. Showtime, Friday, April 2nd. The debut of Bellator there. This brings me back to the damn Strikeforce days. I cannot wait to see it. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, follow my social media. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I'll see you all in the next video.